It's January 26, 2026. Welcome to yes2hellwith.com. Let me show you something that looks small, but it's actually a perfect demonstration of how modern administrative systems expand. In Britain, there is now a requirement to register poultry, even a single chicken. Most people hear that and think, it's just a chicken, it's just a form, it's just for public health. But that is how the system wins and grows, not with force at first, with structure. Because the register is not about the chicken. The register is about who you become the moment you comply. And to understand that, you need to understand the order: authority, jurisdiction, status, standing, and obligation. If you don't understand that order, you will comply out of fear and call it normal. Now, let's look at authority. Authority is the first question. Authority means who is claiming the right to demand this from you. Not the government, not the agency, not public safety. Authority means what is the source of the right to command, because power is not authority. Power is what a system can do. Authority is what it is allowed to do. So the first question is simple. Who has the lawful authority to require registration of a private person's animal? If that is not clear, everything that follows is presumption. Now let's get to jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is the second question. Jurisdiction means where does that authority apply? Over whom? Under what conditions? This is where most people collapse and comply because they think jurisdiction is automatic. It is not. Jurisdiction must be triggered, and the chicken register is a perfect example because the system is not asking, do we have jurisdiction over you? It is assuming it. It is presuming it. It is saying, if you keep the animal, you are within our reach. That's the trick, and it's important that we think about this. They collapse private life into regulatory territory by treating your backyard as if it were a controlled zone. Now let's look at status. Status is what you become inside of their framework. Status is not your identity. It's not your belief system. Status is not your intention. Status is your classification inside a system. And registration is how status is created. Before you register, you are simply a person who owns a chicken. After you register, you become a keeper, a regulated category, a file number, a compliance subject. That's what regulation does. It doesn't just record a chicken. It creates a relationship between you and the state. It turns a private fact into a controlled condition. Then there is standing. Standing is the system's ability to act against you as a proper subject. Standing means, do they have a recognized procedural basis to bring enforcement against you? And this is where the chicken register becomes dangerous. Because the moment you register, the system gains standing. Now it can say, you are on our register. You have duties. You must update records. You must comply with restrictions. You are subject to inspection. You are accountable. And now if you resist later, you are not resisting a theory. You are resisting your own record, a record that you created, your own submission, your own entry into the framework. That is standing. Standing is not truth. Standing is procedural positioning. Finally, let's look at obligation. Obligation is what they claim you now owe, and obligation is always the last step, because obligation is not created by fear. Obligation is created by authority, jurisdiction, status, and standing. Once those pieces are assumed, the system declares, now you must comply. Register, update, report, submit, obey. That's the administrative model. And notice what happened. The chicken didn't change. You didn't change. Only one thing changed, the record. Now, here's the real lesson. Listen carefully. This is the same structure used everywhere. Today it's a chicken. Tomorrow it's land use, home production, fuel storage, water collection, private transactions, and then speech. Because once the public accepts the principle, you must register to exist peacefully, and everything becomes registerable. And once everything is compelled to be registered, everything becomes controlled. So when you hear, it's only one chicken, understand what's really being said. It's only one step into their framework, and that is how free people become managed subjects. Not by chains first, by paperwork first. Authority, jurisdiction, status, standing, and obligation. That is order, not theory. It is survival. Because if you don't control the order, the system controls you. Now, send this to someone who still thinks that it's just a form. And as always, may truth reign supreme.